I started working on this a few days ago, and I told everyone that it was probably going to be 5 or 10 minutes, but for some reason I kept getting these nudges from P. Wayne, and he kept saying, oh, just one more thing, just one more thing. So forgive me if it goes on a little longer, but the intention is definitely pure in my heart as something he would want to share. Specifically, I want to welcome and recognize and acknowledge Mom Janet. I know this must be hard. The kids, Gibby, Kara, Joseph, Caroline, sweet Caroline, brother Kevin, Linda, sister Kim, Dan, and granddaughter Bentley, especially. And of course, so many friends, many who were like brothers and sisters of other mothers, because that was P. Wayne's nature. It was his way of doing things, wasn't it? Now, if I may share a few personal anecdotes and memories, some of which were nudged by P. Wayne himself, I would also welcome you to share on his obituary page or here on the YouTube page that this is going to be posted on, to keep his legacy alive as we remember him days, weeks, months, years from now. He stays, his spirit stays alive with us. Today is Friday the 13th. Coincidence? Maybe not. Wayne was not superstitious, as we know. Most of us realize he wasn't that kind of a person, but he was big in rituals, wasn't he? He loved wearing his special jersey on game day or special hats, and I think he even had some socks that would match the occasion, especially for his Penguins and his Steelers and his Lions from Penn State. And every time Penn State would play, he would have his mantra that would come out, "We are. We are." Significant words from P. Wayne and for us today, because yes, we are. Because we are is an I am statement, if you will, to the power of us, the power of our ability to be together. If anybody knew P. Wayne, he was not egotistical in any way, shape, or form. He was about us together. P. Wayne was a true, loyal, and unconditional friend to me. Sponge. Who else would don the colors of a foe? Penguins and Habs had great rivalries over the years, but at least for him it wasn't the Crapitals that he used to call them. But I don't know if you realized they were almost the same colors. The Crapitals would have been a harder ask for him to wear that jersey. He was a true brother of another mother to me, and even more as he spread his gentle kindness and uplifting joy to everyone he met. Everyone, there was no exception. Strangers, teammates that he just met, everyone. He was super kind, and I'm sure if you're watching and listening here, you felt that from him before. And how does it get better than that from a fellow human being, right? Well, he helped our team reach higher. He helped our family come together even more. He helped me be stronger. He helped make our world better, to do better, to be better, to have better, and to give better. A lot of that was inspired by Wayne. You've heard of it as a team before. He's trying to log in, I think. But yes, we are. We are here today, I believe, to find some closure with what happened and to let him go as best that each of us can, as hard as that can be, so that he can rest in peace. A lot of times we hang on to our beloved who have left us, and we kind of keep them with us too much. So we have to find that balance. But situations or events like today, like we're doing here together, is in part to get us closer to letting go, as hard as that can feel, but without forgetting. And for us to also affirm with faith that we know He, yeah, you, Wayne, will keep watching over us. He can still be with us without us having to hang on to Him, watching over us as His Spirit, as we remember Him for His essence to live on in infamy, and that we can notice, that we will notice and quickly recognize as part of every act of kindness. Because that's who He was. That's what He did. He was just a kind man. As every expression or word of support. That's what Wayne did. All the time. Always there to support us. And every expression of compassion that we can witness and see in another. That's a part of what Wayne gave us every day. For that was who he was. No matter what was going on inside him, and he was troubled inside, he's shared that often with me, but he was still able to outwardly express this faith, this knowing that everything is going to be all right. Everything is all right. We experience this, and we love this in him, and we miss it. That's the truth. P. Wayne loved numbers. He loved spreadsheets, he loved charts, analyses, stats, graphs, and spreadsheets. And I mentioned spreadsheets, lots of spreadsheets, with lots of pages to them sometimes. And he really had fun with those he could co-create with, like Tyson and Robert and Guy and Sponge and Gibby. He loved doing that. That was kind of his raison d'etre when he woke up in some morning. Can I update the charts? Can I update the spreadsheets? He loved to give us a scorecard because he felt that these spreadsheets were meaningless if we didn't have some sort of boundaries, some sort of rules to them. So he would share how we could make these more relevant. And we were still in the process of doing that. Never quite finalized what he was envisioning for us to grasp onto. But we're going to continue. I had a good idea. And I've had nudges along those lines too for future powwows that we will be having. But based on these rules, he helped us define what was success. What was something that we could continue to keep doing versus things that maybe we could stop doing to be better. He did this to inspire us. He inspired me many a times in our powwows. A lot of the words that came out were things that he shared with me that loaded my lips. So that we could pull together more. So that where we can see our collective stake in this game of life. It wasn't just about him or me or Team Perka. It was about us, all of us. He felt that too. He energized and gave that to us too. We are. That's the mantra. We are in this together. He did that. That was his song. When Wayne took his last breath, most likely August the 2nd, just at dinner time, and we found him the next morning on the 3rd, I wondered that morning. Heck, I didn't wonder. I yelled, "Why? What? Why now?" All indication was he was healthy and had so much more to give. But why now? Why that day? It still hurts. In my humble opinion, an awful thing that we can do is to leave this earth with a song unsung. I have moments of deep sadness still. Too many sometimes. Thinking that so many of us, not of us, we're still here, so many who have already left us. Like for me, in the past decade or so, was my dad and pops, my brother JJ, my niece, our Perka brother Ryan, Rotary brothers Jeff, Bill, Dean, Dick, and sadly so many others that I am not mentioning. And I know that each of you have people that you could say too. Why? Why now? Wasn't there more song to sing? And now PW. I am sad for what I am thinking in regards to that. That they leave with what I might perceive to be a song unsung. Could P. Wayne have sung more? Anyone else feel like that? But who am I to say? Is their song maybe now to be sung by us? We are. To be carried on. He had his song, he began to sing it, and it's now for us to carry that tune, to carry those lyrics. We are leaving a legacy, as he did, by how he lived, with a trail, a path, maybe not as clear as we'd like. My dad left a bunch of sticky notes. P. Wayne left something a little bit better than that. A lot of emails. I know that the family's going through them, and I still have tons of them. And maybe I fear this, the song unsung part, as I do maybe see that in me, in each of you. Songs to be sung that I hope I get to sing, and I hope you all get the opportunity to sing yours too. And I want to help. I want to support. I want to encourage, just like P. Wayne did. Now, even though I can hardly carry a steady note, I do feel that there's this consciousness, this awareness, this presence to make sure that that you, each individually, that you, especially Caroline and Ben's, the youngest of our family, to strive to sing that song. And here's the kicker. Sing it with others. P. Wayne came into our lives and with a song to sing, and he somehow plugged into us as a team to continue his song. And we reverberated it. We took what he was sharing in his moments of wisdom and took it to another level as Team Perka. He was our greatest cheerleader. He wanted us to succeed so much. And he celebrated in every moment that we hired a new teammate or sold another building or did a good thing in the community. He was there for all of that and wanted us to keep doing more. As us, we are. To continue with our music, our symphony, our performances of whatever that is in us. Individually, we'll all have different tunes that we can work to harmonize together, and then collectively to turn it into that orchestra and symphony as we are. And so, as to then leave this earth someday with our song sung, or singing, and a life lived fully. As I pray and affirm to me in sharing today that yes, P. Wayne did sing his song. And he left it for us to continue to sing. And he did it in his own grand but humble way. Now, I would be totally remiss if I did not also share a bit of P. Wayne's expression of his deep faith. We frequently exchanged, he and I, scriptures. Not as much as we would have liked together in person in the same room, but by email. I mean, COVID separated us for a long time, and so we did a lot of email and texting exchanges. And we would just do these kind of scripture exchanges. I'd send him one, he'd send me another, and we'd go back and forth. Depending on what we were going through, always looking for a relevant verse to help support us through whatever we were going through. And to pray through things. He was definitely faithful in that. And he was often the muse to the verses that I would share on our pay stubs. You guys get a lot of pay stubs with notes on them, right? And he was part of this inspiration for a lot of those. I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna have to dig deeper. I love to sign those checks because I could share not only my sentiments, but his, the families, and each other's. Because oftentimes we would pick up on the vibe that was coming from our own individual struggles. And that would prompt us with some ideas. And back on July 12th of 2020, was right in the middle of a pandemic. We were both kind of feeling a little alone or separated, albeit I was lucky to be at home with Guylaine, and he was here with, you know, those who were able to stay, and it wasn't totally alone like some people did have to endure during the pandemic, but we still felt those moments. And he shared some great stories from one of his devotionals that he talked about. He had this devotional book, or not in the book, it was an online thing, I think, because I don't think we found any devotional books, right? But it was an online one, and he would get these and share them with me. And there was one about DV, he called it, a little acronym. I never used it, and I haven't used it yet, but it may show up someday in the future. He had a great sense of humor. It wasn't VD, right? It was DV. Why don't you get that? Some of you may have heard it. I mean, he may have shared it with others. He was really good at copy and pasting sometimes to share his wisdom, to share his discoveries, to share his moments of enlightenment. So he may have done and shared some of these with others, and you may recognize it. Whatever plan that was shared in this particular story, a particular person in the story always ended with DV. Now, you're probably all like me wondering what the heck was DV meaning? Because he went on and on without explaining it for a while, and then it was down like 3 pages into the email. It meant Dio Volente. I believe that was Spanish. And it meant God willing. So the person in this story would be saying things and then end with DV, God willing. Some of us might remember Pops using that a lot. He would leave here and say, I'll see you tomorrow, God willing, and the creek don't rise. Same idea. But then he quickly added this scripture, John 10:10. I have come that they may have life and to have it to the full. Think, pray. We are. Then we quickly wrote, and a lot of times the emails were a little jumbled and long, as you might guess. He wrote, I know so many times I've followed the plan. This is him writing. Man plans, and God laughs. And this is another version, he said, that I did so much planning for the future, many times as I saw it, versus living the moment in that day, that he could have spent enjoying and absorbing more of those moments. Why? To live life fully. Some of you guys might recognize that hashtag, LLF. Came from his inspiration. So the question becomes, what if we framed our choices more in that lane, like he kind of figured out on that day in July of 2020? Think, pray. We are. Then he shared this one, Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times. And he was that to many of us, wasn't he? A friend. And he loved us always and in all ways. And then this next part to that proverb, which may resonate well with Kevin and Kim, and also to those who felt him like family. A brother is born for a time of adversity. Brothers, sisters. They're not yes people. We're here. He was here for me and I was here for him, and all those who felt him like a brother exchanged with him, not to just say yes and approve, but to also hold a mirror up from time to time and allow ourselves to grow through a situation, experience, challenge, or adversity. Yes, we are. And we can be this to each other, regardless of our situations, regardless of who we're with, to see the brotherhood in each and every one of us. This P. Wayne strived to do. And he lived it by just the way he welcomed a new face at the door. Everyone, regardless how they were dressed, what they looked like, who they were. He received and touched everyone in that same way. Seeing a brother, seeing a sister. And by that example, I believe we can learn from that and to treat each other in similar ways as brothers and sisters keepers, also from his faith. To watch out for each other. And we've been endeavoring towards that practice, and maybe we can bring it up another notch in his memory. Yes? So to close from my part here today, I would like to share Wayne's conclusion. And this came from him just last night, this morning. Hey, by the way, share this. Here I am. It was from this same particular exchange that went on in page 7 or 8, which I actually have printed and I refer to from time to time because it meant something on that day. So he continued to write, here were my 3 lessons that profoundly spoke to me today through this exchange. And hopefully these bits of wisdom will serve us all, especially the youngest in our clan, because we have a longer life to be able to get better at doing this. Caroline B. Number 1, he said, look for and take time and be thankful. Remember all the things that you have to be thankful for in your life first and foremost. Focus on those things versus the problems in front of you. See the problems, but don't focus on them. God has solved those already, and soon they will be in your thankful category. Trust that. Side note, he then added, God's definition of timely solving issues is a lot different than mine. Because he wished things would happen a lot quicker, and often they didn't. But eventually they would, as he would realize later when it finally did. Sometimes months, sometimes years. Wayne was not the most patient, if any of you know that. Told you this was going to be a little lengthy, and I apologize again. Number 2, he said, though, look for the things that provide you joy and peace. Those things that are in your life already. And don't focus on the struggles. Doing that steals the joy and the peace of the moment. Always balance your own plans by ensuring that they are God's plans as well. That was number 3. But then he added his own notes. I have gotten better at that, he added. However, being a type A personality, as most of us know that he was, I always wanted to go better and to go faster. It's like this analogy. For me, having played baseball, I shouldn't have had to worry about stealing second base until I reached first base, right? And I couldn't and shouldn't worry about getting to first until I focused on, is that pitch coming at me a curveball, a fastball, or a screwball? Got a lot of screwballs, he said. So, he continues to write, for me, I hope to constantly allow myself to see all the things that I do have, like my family, like my kids, that I have to be thankful for. Allow myself to see these things which I have first and foremost that give me joy and peace. And finally, to execute this without flaw today, and it was a day-to-day practice, again, not trying to plan for tomorrow till we got through today, he said, I must understand that my plans for tomorrow are based on God's will. So I must plan, yes, but let go. Therefore, asking God to clearly lay out my path and close down the wrong ones. He struggled with that. Words to remember him by. Little bits of advice that we can carry. And I want to say that I am grateful to have met him, to have welcomed him into our family, into Team Perka. Regardless of the circumstances, they matter not. This was a divine appointment I believe that he had with each and every one of us here, and each and every one that he has had interaction and spent life with, for better or for worse. And I'm sure that some of this will resonate with each one of us and each one of you listening in on this. And I hope that his song can be sung by all of us. I appreciate everyone for listening in and hopefully sharing and remembering and keeping Wayne's spirit alive as we move forward. Now, Gibby has prepared a beautiful montage which we're playing here near the end, because it'll be hard to speak afterwards, of P. Wayne. And I'd like to call him up right now to maybe share a note or word and then play it for all of us.
I tried to write something. But there's really no words. Some of you who know my dad, he didn't have the easiest road the last decade or so. At times that put mine and his relationship in tense points. Sometimes we weren't as close as we could have been, should have been. I could talk about memories from the first 30 years of my life, which we lived in 13 different cities, 7 different states. We had great opportunities. We lived in great houses. We got to sit 50-yard line football games, but none of that mattered. 2.5 years ago, he showed up on my front porch. Everything had crashed around him. My aunt and uncle had done everything they could to help him. They'd gotten him his car back. And he came here, to me, who was named after him, for help. And so I turned to my resources. Elin and Sponge were here cleaning an apartment while he's still trying to, move in with all he had in his Jeep. That's all he had to his name at the point. And over time, he settled in there. He got to know people here. He found relationships and brotherhood, an extra taller. For a year of that time, I wasn't able to be here. It was just him and Sponge, a lot of times Robert, sometimes Guy when they weren't in the field. When Sponge was having a bad day, he'd call my extension. What's going on with Sponge? She's quiet today. Is she okay? If it was one of those days and Petey's truck wasn't out front, hey, I don't think the Sponge is really in the middle of the talk. Do you know anything about Petey? Is he all right? Same thing with Nick when he came and then went. Same thing with a lot of people. Or he'd tell me the story about somebody who came and filled out an application. He found true home, true family, true community here. He cared for all of you more than you'll ever know. last Tuesday morning. When you wake up to missed calls and text messages from 4 members of the same family, you know something's going on. When there's a text message from a friend of yours on the police department saying that a body was found at your place of work, making sure you're okay, the pieces are put together before you make the phone call. And last Tuesday, the fixing of the relationship with my dad came to an end. It was at a good place. We texted a lot while I was down there the first couple of days. He loved Disney. He was extremely jealous. But I'm thankful to everyone here, especially the Thevenos, that let me stay and heal and grieve and build memories with my daughter. I put a short slideshow video together. It was just pictures and I could find on Facebook. So to Gibson cousins that are on this page that are seeing this, I'm sorry if I didn't have photos of you. I put together what I could between tears dripping on my keyboard. The song that you'll hear in the background is a song that Kara and I found when we cleaned out his apartment. The name was written on a tablet. It's a different artist version, but it fit well with the slideshow. This morning when researching the song, I found out that actually it was used in a finale episode of NCIS, which Sponge will tell you he had been watching recently, so that's probably, he wrote it down, and he wrote Ask Alexa and the title of the song. So he's probably trying to figure out who wrote the song. So we found that. I actually included his handwriting comment in the video. But it's just a short one-song slideshow with some pictures of him through the years, and a lot of his last 2.5 years, because they say that extra time with loved ones is a gift. And the last 2.5 years, I feel that was, because if this suite wouldn't have been open to him, I don't know if he would have had anywhere else to turn. He had just gotten out of the hospital, and he might not have had the last 2.5 years if it wasn't for this place and for this team. So we're gonna watch that video now.
Hey guys, it's Wayne from OTG.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean that I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly cold when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la. La la lo, keep me in your heart for a while. Sha la 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 lo, keep me in your heart for a while. Sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, maybe think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Well, hold me to thoughts, take me to your dreams, touch me when I fall into winter comes, keep the fires lit. I will be right next to you. engine drivers headed north up to Pleasant Street. Keep me in your heart for a while. These wheels keep on turning, but they're running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Oh, keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while.
Rest in peace, P. Wayne. Thank you guys for being here and sharing this moment. There's food still to be eaten. That was a meal that, if you haven't already eaten it, that P. Wayne wanted to serve us all. Weeks, months, maybe just before. So enjoy and remember him. That's all we can ask. And if anybody wants to share with Gibby here before we go, say something, you're fine. If not, you can tag a note on the obituary page or on YouTube. Anybody? No? Let's break, folks. Want to say something?
I want to thank everybody, especially watching this, that couldn't be here today. We've received some beautiful plants. Caroline and I are grateful. There's also been quite a few donations that have come in to the Rotary Club, which are going to be earmarked for shoes, which was a project he loved helping, especially during the Sponges year as president, reaching those goals, and I know he wants to help Carolyn topple those goals. So for those of you that still want to participate, I can put in the comments below the P.O. box for our Southside Rotary, or he loved taking care of the plants around here. He was our green thumb, especially the year and a half that it was just him and Sponge around here. So we're taking plants here. If there become too many, I'll take some home. I'll deliver them to Kara. But just thank you everyone for loving my dad.
There's nothing else, then thank you all very much. Appreciate it, and Godspeed to everybody.